Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel. Welcome to this Rest and Worship Saturday. We're basically in Exodus, the 20th chapter, verses 8 to 11, and also Deuteronomy, I think the 5th chapter. In Hebrews, the 4th chapter, it talks about keeping the Sabbath, which is the seventh day of the week, which Christ kept himself. So basically, on usually on this Rest and Worship Sabbath, I usually talk about something maybe that struck my attention during the time of the Sabbath, or something I learned at church, or so that I thought was important to bring back to the group. So basically, in Sabbath school, they were talking about the world view and actually a God view. And the world view would be basically how the world looks at things, and the God view would be how basically it's kind of self-explanatory. How God looks at things. Well, anyhow, so welcome everyone, including my 103 subscribers that I'm very proud of, and also those that continue to come back and visit us, and those that are visiting us for the first time. Welcome, 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 everyone. And if you haven't already, why don't you consider subscribing, which is totally, totally free. You just see the word subscribe, you click on it, a bell will come up. When the bell comes up, you hit the bell, and then you'll see all. Hit all, and that way, whenever I do a new upload, you'll get a notification. So what I wanted to talk about, like, the way things are in the world is different the way things are in godliness, and as it relates to forgiveness, because it's forgiveness right now is the thing that I have in the throne room, one of the things that I have in the throne room, and one of the things that I'm soliciting God's help for. And so anyway, so this morning, um, it was real early in the morning, and I was kind of, I was on Facebook, and I happened to see, a person that that had offended me, hurt my feelings, whatever. And so basically, it was like I was holding that in my heart. And so ordinarily, if it was anybody else, haven't seen a person, and basically they was, posting something at the same time I was posting something, I would have said hello, but I didn't. And I know that the reason why I didn't is because I'm just holding on to the hurt, holding on to the pain. And I know that in Christendom, which is the God's view, He wants us to forgive. He wants us to forgive. He wants us to show love to one another. However, as a worldview, it's like if the person don't do things perfectly, they hurt you or whatever, you get rid of them. You get them out of your circle. You don't continue to deal with them. You don't forgive them. And so basically, of course, I'm saying to myself, you know, I'm closer to that person in my unforgiveness than what I am to God in my forgiveness. And so, of course, I'm asking God to come in and help me. And I think that, when I think about the text that says all things work together for our good, right? Those that are called for the Lord, to the Lord, and those that are called according to his purpose. And I had to think of, like, in the way that I was hurt and how that can work for my good. Number one, it was like this person was in like a leadership kind of position, which usually, when I work for people, I'm usually like in a leadership kind of predicament myself, position. And so I think that the way that it works to my good is that it's a type of leader that God did not want me to be like. And basically, it was a kind of facility, how it was set up and everything is a way, it was an example of how God did not want things to be set up with me. And then the other thing is too, is that, God did not want me to hold the hurt, you know what I mean? Like until death do us part kind of thing, like hold the hurt forever or anything. But God wanted me to see, as well as my need for God to help forgive the person, God wanted me to pray that the person could see their need for forgiveness from God and to be connected up back up with God. And so, I have like a few things that's in the throne room that, I need God to help me to forgive, people with, right? And certainly I want to be closer to God than I am to anybody, especially, somebody that mistreated me, you know what I mean, did not treat me well, and then I think about like this person is indicative of me, basically. And I say that because I'm a human being too. So I am not exempt from the hurt that people may experience from their encounter with me because, you know, I may have a certain way of being that I may not think that hurts another person, but it may very well be hurting another person. And so basically, it's like I had to really, really think about these things because I want to move closer to God and forgiving and not be close to the person in unforgiveness. You know what I'm saying? And then the other thing is that I want to show myself as pleasing to God. And even though I feel like I can't forgive on my own, that I really, really need God to forgive me. And so when I think about that, I think about the psalmist David. David was a man that he had taken another man's wife as his own, and had sex with her and try to cover it up and basically, had the husband put on the front line and had the husband killed. But when David went before God for forgiveness, David was like, for you only God have I sinned and basically did this transgression or whatever. So what am I saying? That I was caught in a crossfire. That even though I was hurt and I was impacted in a most negative way about the situation that happened with me and this person, okay, it was God's law that was broken. So basically, it was the offense was really towards God. I was just caught in the crossfire, you know? So it was like I wasn't supposed to take it personally. And so I'm telling you these things because thinking like this is helping me. It's really, really helped me to be loose from the unforgiveness, to be loose from the pain that I feel in my heart as a result of how I was treated by this person. Okay, and it's really like a couple people, dealing with basically like the same kind of sort of like the same situation. But again, I have my amounts of hurts that I have dealt other people as well, whether knowingly or unknowingly. And again, it is God's law that when we hurt one another, we don't love in a way or be considerate or caring in the way that is pleasing to God, we offend God. Because isn't it God who said that we should love one another? You know what I mean? And so, the example that God gave us for forgiveness and loving, it is the example of Peter. And I think about that and I'm saying, God, help me to get there. When Jesus was, being crucified, and he had already told Peter he was going to deny him 3 times, and Peter refuted that. But of course, didn't Jesus know what he's talking about? Knowing the beginning from the end? And still, what happened was, when he was actually being crucified, Peter denied him, just like Jesus said, 3 times. But when Jesus rose again, he basically told the angel to tell my disciples and Peter to meet me in Galilee. He forgave him. And so forgiveness is with God. So anyone that we need to forgive, we can lean on God. God can work it out for us because he will walk us through the whole thing, meeting us where we are. Yes, it's okay to tell him that it hurt. Okay. So basically, this is all that I have for you. I hope that it was as helpful to you as it was for me. Now unto him that is able to keep you from falling and to present you faultless before the presence of his glory with exceeding joy. To the only wise God, our Savior, be glory and majesty, dominion and power, both now and ever. I love you. See you in the next YouTube. Remember to subscribe, share everywhere with everyone on all social media platforms, and encourage subscription as you share. And remember to subscribe yourself. See you in the next YouTube.